sir.
Hey, good morning back.
What's going on today?
Well, we're still talking about divorces, and the part of the divorce that we're talking about today is custody and visitation schedules. You know, what kind of visitation schedule should you expect to potentially have to adhere by moving forward? What makes sense? Well, since we know joint custody is now favored in the state of Arkansas, that suggests that the two parties are sharing equal time. And how does equal time work? Well, equal time can be more difficult when you have younger children, meaning if you've got a 6-month old, you don't necessarily want to do week on, week off. And it's not fair to either parent to go an entire week with a newborn and not see the newborn. So some people can handle it, but others can't. And, you know, specifically, I don't know that my wife could have been away from any of my children after she gave birth for an entire week. I think she would have been more than frustrated. That's a polite way to put it. And I think she would have attacked anyone who had tried to take away her child for a week period. So if that's the case, if either parent on your end might fall under that category, then what do? Well, we don't want to share the minor child on a day-on, day-off basis because, you know, then you might as well still be married if you're seeing each other every, 12 hours, 24 hours. So sometimes what we do is we have families look at splitting the children on what is referred to as a 2-2-3 schedule. One will have Monday and Tuesday, then the other one will have the next 2 days, and then we'll go back to the first parent who'll have a 3-day weekend, and then we flip it for the next week. And that's an easier way to break up the equal time. So, you've got 2 days, you're off 2 days, you got a 3-day weekend, then you're off 2 days, you're on 2 days, and then they have a 3-day weekend. That seems to make a little more sense than trading every single day. Now, we also look at when we've got a newborn and we're in that first 6 to 12 month period, it may be more beneficial, especially if the child is nursing and needs to be by the mom on a more regular basis, to come up with a better plan for sharing custody. And it may be more of a plan that involves the minor child spending more time with the mother as opposed to the dad. And the dad is going to have to figure out a way to work around the necessity of nursing because a lot of people find that that's a priority. If you're having a child, I think the doctors say nursing is in all babies' best interest these days. They used to not, but they don't do that anymore. So that's why it's important to be able to sit down with an attorney and come up with a game plan of something that you can live with for those first 6 to 12 months. And then once we kind of get out of that nursing period, then we can start looking at a 2-2-3. And then once we get somewhere between kindergarten and second grade, when the children are getting a little older, maybe we can start looking at a week on, week off. It's a little easier for a child to be away from each parent for a longer period of time the older they are. And I think we know by the time they hit 16, they're just going to be sleeping all day anyway, unless you get them up to clean the house. And so it doesn't matter where they are. They just need a cave somewhere, a dark dungeon, so they can just sleep all day long when they're not at school. And I guess stay up all night long playing video games. So those are some of the thoughts when we're looking at custody and visitation these days through a divorce. Now, hopefully you're not going through a divorce, but, it just happens. Sometimes, we start out in a relationship, it starts great, and then we realize maybe this is not so great. Maybe we're better off in separate homes. If that's the case or a family member needs help with it, hey, give me a call. Fuller Bumpers, downtown Batesville. Give me a call. We'll bring you in. We'll work through the issues, and we'll get you headed in a better direction.